Hello, good afternoon. You're welcome back to my channel. I'm your registered ophthalmic nurse, Diane. And today we'll be talking on things that we do that may be predisposing us to eye damage. Alright, so let's get right into it. Number one, use of unprescribed eye drop. When you have an eye condition, it is necessary that you visit an ophthalmic clinic and get your eyes checked. And then the ophthalmologist will now prescribe drugs for you. All right? They will now prescribe drug for you, or the eye doctors. That prescription is what you're going to be using, and you must stick to your prescribed medication. Do not abuse antibiotics, eye drops like chloramphenicol. It's very common around this area. Every eye problem we just abuse chloramphenicol. What you are doing is you are already predisposing yourself to antibiotics resistance. Just as you have it in systemic body or antibiotics in the body, you also have it in the eyes. You also have antibiotics resistance because you are abusing those eye drops. When you now need it for the real eye bacterial infections, it will no longer work for you because you've already abused it and the body is now used to it. So you will either need a higher drug or it may even not work at all, which may lead to vision loss. All right. Another thing that we do is the use of traditional eye medications. I'm not saying traditional medications are bad, but what makes them different from orthodox medication is that orthodox has its own prescription, it has its own dosage, use, mechanism of action, and one particular drug cannot just get rid of thousands ailments unlike the traditional eye medication. And another thing is that the method of preparation in traditional eye medications, some of the methods are very crude and unhygienic. Imagine somebody having conjunctivitis or stye and you're telling the person to put urine into the eyes or breast milk or animal excreta or dungs. These are very dangerous because you don't even know if that urine is contaminated. We've seen cases where somebody with gonorrhea, he didn't know, put his own urine in his eyes and then the eyes began to bring out pus along the line because he left it unchecked for long. At the end of the day, the man had panophthalmitis. That is, almost all organs of the eyes were already destroyed and the eyes were removed. This could have actually been prevented if he just went straight to the ophthalmic clinic, got his eyes checked, got the right prescription, used it at the right time, and as at when due, this would have been prevented. All right, so you don't know how contaminated these things are. Yes, they will say our forefathers used it, but I should tell you that there are some things that we did, or people did ignorantly in the past that actually just worked for them. Sometimes another thing you should know is that records were not also kept of people that came down with damages after this use. So don't also rule out the possibility of people coming down with complications after his use in the past, but they will not tell you that part. So please avoid the use of traditional eye medications. All right. Another thing that we do that could predispose us to bad eyesight is smoking. When people constantly smoke, as you are puffing out your smoke, observe smokers. It's as if they are closing one of the eyes. Why? Because if you observe the smoke will usually go to a direction, the flame will go to a direction, all right? If it goes this way, they will have to close this eye so that it doesn't just enter. Constant doing of all this or constant entering of those exudates from your smoking into the eyes could actually lead to dry eyes, eye irritation, red eyes, inflammation, even infections of the eye. And then, because the tobacco or whatever constituent of what you are smoking is going to the system, it could also go to the circulations of the eye because there are blood vessels in the eyes too. Okay, so these are very, very bad and dangerous. Another thing that would do that could predispose us to eye problem is for the beautiful ladies in the house. Please, the continuous, constant use of eyelash extensions are very, very bad. Okay, now what you are doing when you fix eyelash extension is that one, you are mounting more weight on a very thin, the thinnest skin in the body, thinnest part of the body is your eyes, the skin is the thinnest. So now imagine you are putting extra weight on your eyelid. It could lead to a condition known as ptosis when it's done continuously because your eyes will now, the eye muscles will constantly be dragged unnaturally to a particular position, which is not good. You don't want to have that. Another thing that you could develop from this is tie, what we popularly call boil, because you are already inflaming the eyes. And when you inflame the eyes, there will be a natural reaction to inflammation, all right, which is inflammation. And when that happens, it could result to style or boil. Another thing that you could predispose your eyes to is dry eyes. Because when you fix, especially those long ones and they are much, it's like a fan. And when you do that, you're constantly exposing the cornea. And when you constantly expose the cornea, the tear film in the eyes will dry up. It will not be as it was before. Okay, that's another thing that you could get from that. Another thing you could get from constant abuse or use of eyelash is that you could get what we call traction alopecia. This is a permanent eyelash loss because the things that they use to glue this eyelash to your eyes, sometimes you want to remove it before the time, you will see yourself pulling on your eyelash or your natural eyelash. And when you do that, some of them will keep coming off and they might not regrow because by tomorrow you have another eyelash on. You don't even give the eye time to breathe or even give the eyelash time to regrow. So when you do that, you might expose yourself to traction alopecia, which is permanent eyelash loss. Okay. Another thing that could predispose you to eye problem is constant use of contact lens. Contact lens for the eyes were naturally prescribed or used for medical purposes. These are people that do not want to use Google eyeglasses, maybe for some reasons, and they are given contact lens to wear, a medicated contact lens. And when they do that, every contact lens, depending on the type, has a duration you're supposed to wear. Some are daily, like maybe after that. In fact, you should remove your contact lens every day. But in this medical prescribed contact lens, you can wear some for like a week and remove, some 2 weekly, some monthly. Okay. And when you do that, they are prescribed fluid that comes with it that you're supposed to use so as to prevent your eye from being infected. But when you don't do this, you are using your own contact lens because you want to have cat eyes, snake eyes, any animal eyes. You don't like the human eye you are having, so you want another eye on top of your natural contact lens. One, you are not using the prescribed fluid because it's not even a medicated contact lens. Two, the person that is going to fix that contact lens might not be a trained personnel that is supposed to handle things relating to eyes. You are exposing yourself to corneal abrasion or corneal damage or tear. A corneal transplant now in Nigeria is more than 1.5 million naira. That's if you even see. Sometimes they have to fly some of this cornea from outside the country And it's that cornea you are playing with now by fixing another contact lens or another artificial cornea on top of it. You are predisposing your cornea to corneal hypoxia, which is you are starving your cornea from oxygen. What nourishes the eyes is the oxygen from outside, which is the air from outside, and the aqueous humor tear film that constantly bathes or flood your eyes. That is what give your eyes nourishment. Now you've already covered one of the source of nourishment, which is oxygen, with a contact lens that you fixed and you kept it for long or you keep using it. You are looking for problem because your cornea will constantly be irritated and it could lead to corneal damage. Okay? The worst is even when you people share contact lens or share what's it called? Eyelashes. You don't even know who has corneal ulcer or who have even blepharitis for the eyelashes and you now go and fix it. You are looking for problem and you don't want that problem. So please stop doing that today. Another thing that we do that could predispose our eyes to problem is lack of usage of good eye shades, dark shades or photochromic lens when we are entering the sun. The UV light from the sun are very harsh and they are not good for the eyes. Therefore, we have to wear glasses that will deflect or reflect out these light rays from entering directly into the eyes. You could get a photochromic. Why photochromic lens is good is that it has a natural way of adjusting itself when the source or intensity of the light changes. What this means is that if you are entering a darker place from a less dark place, the photochromic lens will automatically adjust. You don't have to remove one glasses to put another one. That is the advantage. Although it's quite expensive, but it's not something you cannot get when you actually want to care for your eyes. Another thing that we do that could predispose our eyes to problem is when we have a foreign body in the eye and we are supposed to do the needful by removing it, we remove it wrongly. There are instruments that an ophthalmic nurse can use to remove a foreign body that you are seeing, visibly seeing. There are instruments for it. Or if you don't have that instrument as an individual, get a clean bowl, get a clean water, open your eyes inside, turn it both ways, sideways, to the left, to the right. Do that for some minutes and you see that the foreign body will leave. Just do that immediately and you see it will leave. It might be discomforting, but that is the right way of getting it out. Or you take your eyes to the ophthalmic clinic for them to remove it. Do not, do not keep rubbing your eyes or scratching your eyes. You might end up damaging your cornea and you don't want to do that because your cornea is precious and very expensive. Okay? You might even go and push the foreign body further into the eyes, which can cause another problem within. Alright? So we'll stop here. On our next video, we'll talk more on these things that we do that predisposes us to eye damage. Alright? You don't want to miss the next video because it's very informative and interesting as usual. For now, it's bye. Thank you for listening.